3 weeks. That's how long it took to dismantle my sister's perfect world. It started with a phone call, a casual Tuesday evening request that tasted like vinegar wrapped in sugar. It ended with her standing in the middle of a ruined, silent, multi-thousand-dollar birthday party, the echoes of screaming children finally fading, staring at me with a dawning horror that told me she finally understood. She had mistaken my kindness for weakness, my compliance for stupidity, and in doing so she handed me the blueprint for her own social annihilation. Let me set the stage. My name is Chloe. My world, 3 weeks before the implosion, was a symphony of manageable chaos. 2 kids, Jamie who's 10 and Lily who's 7, homework spread across the kitchen table like a paper battlefield. The scent of garlic and tomatoes simmering on the stove. My husband, David, was working late, again trying to close some big deal. I was the conductor, the glue, the quiet engine keeping our little universe humming. And then my phone lit up. Laura's sister flashed on the screen. My relationship with Laura was complex. She was 2 years older, perpetually brighter, shinier, more aspirational. Where I found joy in homemade sauce and signed permission slips, Laura's joy was found in curated Instagram feeds and designer handbags. Her daughter Emily was turning 8. And Laura did nothing by halves. Here we go. The annual production of Emily's Spectacular Life. I wonder what over-the-top theme it is this year. Underwater ballet. Miniature Gatsby. I answered, phone tucked between my shoulder and ear, wooden spoon in hand. Chloe. Hi. What are you doing? Just finishing up Tuesday spaghetti. The kids are perfect. Listen, so Emily's turning 8 next month. We're doing a big party. Like epic. At that new event venue downtown, Sparkle Galaxy. You know, the one with the indoor zero-gravity playground, the holographic dance floor and the gourmet catering? The one that just opened near the luxury shopping district? It's basically a mini theme park. I could see it. The neon. The squeals. The sheer, unadulterated excess. A pang of anxiety for my bank account. The expected gift would need to be substantial, mixed with a genuine warmth for my niece. Wow, Laura. That sounds amazing. The kids have been asking when Emily's birthday is. Lily's already been drawing pictures for her card. There was a pause then. Not a comfortable silence. It was a hole in the conversation, a vacuum that sucked all the casual warmth out of the kitchen. I could hear her breathing, the faint click of a pen. My hand stirring the sauce slowed. Shirley, I wanted to talk to you about that. I turned down the heat on the stove. The bubbling sauce quieted to a simmer. A cold trickle, entirely separate from the steam from the pot, traced a path down my spine. My full attention locked onto the phone. That tone. I knew that tone. It was her favor tone. The one that never, ever ended with a favor for me. The thing is, Chloe, Sparkle Galaxy has these packages. And for the Galactic Empress package we really want, which includes the mermaid performers and the personalized holographic message from Emily's favorite anime character, there's a strict guest limit. 50 children. 50. And with Emily's school friends and her gymnastics team and Mark's business partners' kids, we're at capacity. It's just so exclusive. Each word was a tiny, precise needle. I looked over at my children. Jamie scowling at math. Lily, tongue out in concentration, coloring a rainbow. The cold trickle turned into a solid block of ice in my gut. I see. So here's my idea. You're so good with kids. And Lily and Jamie adore Emily. What if they helped at the party? They could be my official, junior party ambassadors. Lily could help guide the younger kids to the cupcake decorating station, and Jamie could be in charge of the goodie bag distribution. It's a special role. They'd be right in the heart of everything, not just sitting there. And it would be such a huge help to me. The injustice of it didn't hit me like a wave. It seeped in, toxic and heavy. My children, my beautiful, excited, loving children, were being demoted from beloved cousins to unpaid background labor. They weren't guests. They were props. Convenient, free labor dressed up as a special role. She wasn't inviting them to celebrate. She was conscripting them to serve her vision of a perfect party. You want my kids to work at the party, instead of being guests. Don't be so dramatic, Chloe. They'll have front row seats to all the fun. And it's not like they'd really fit in with some of the other kids, you know? This is a certain crowd. This is easier. It's perfect. A certain crowd. The final gleaming dagger. The unspoken words hung in the digital space between us. Richer. Better. More important. My kids in their store-brand jeans and boundless enthusiasm wouldn't fit in. The block of ice in my gut ignited into a cold blue flame. I saw red at the edges of my vision. But my voice was calm. Serene. A frozen lake. Let me talk to David and the kids, Laura. I'll get back to you. Oh, wonderful. I'll email you the ambassador schedules. Thanks, sis, you're a lifesaver. She hung up. I stood in my kitchen, the smell of garlic now cloying, the sounds of my children a distant echo. The betrayal wasn't just for me. It was for them. She had looked at their innocent, expectant love for their cousin and seen an opportunity to exploit it. To use them as set dressing. The cold flame burned brighter. The next day I confirmed the injustice. I called Sparkle Galaxy, posing as a potential client. The Galactic Empress package had a 75 child limit, not 50. Laura had lied. Bald-faced. The ambassador idea wasn't a workaround for space. It was a cost-saving, convenience-driven insult she'd fabricated. She'd invented a problem just to demean my children. The conflict escalated in whispers and passive aggression. When I tentatively asked if maybe, just maybe, the kids could just come as guests, even for just the cake cutting, her response was a masterpiece of condescension. Chloe, be realistic. The ambience is crucial. Having them just show up would disrupt the flow. The ambassador roles give them purpose. They'll feel involved. You're always saying you want them to learn responsibility. This is a perfect lesson. Each interaction was a lesson in her psychology. Laura saw the world as a hierarchy, and in her mind she was granting us a privilege by letting us serve at the foot of her throne. The frustration built like pressure in a sealed kettle. David was furious but advocated for the path of least resistance. Just don't go. Make an excuse. But it wasn't enough. The insult needed an answer. The cold flame demanded fuel. The turning point came from Lily. She was showing me her latest drawing for Emily. An intricate picture of them as princesses at a castle party. I'm going to give this to her when I see her at her party. I can't wait to play with her on the zero-gravity playground. Mommy, what's a ambassadeur? That word, ambassador, in her tiny, confused voice, was the spark that lit the fuse. I saw the inevitable heartbreak. The moment she'd realize she wasn't there to play but to work. The moment she'd see other children deemed more worthy enjoying the party she was facilitating. The cold flame inside me solidified into a diamond-hard resolve. No. I would not protect my children from this by hiding them from it. I would protect them by obliterating the source of the pain. Laura wanted a perfect party? I would help her achieve a perfection she could never have imagined. The revenge planning began not with anger but with research. Cold, clinical, meticulous research. I became a ghost in Laura's perfect world. I liked Sparkle Galaxy's social media posts. I signed up for their newsletter with a burner email. I called again, this time as a very concerned mother, asking about their allergy protocols, their staff vetting, their health and safety certifications. The young salesperson, eager to reassure, became a fountain of information. I learned the party was scheduled for a Sunday afternoon from 1 to 4 p.m. Laura had booked the entire venue. The headliner was Aqua Mystica, a duo of performers in mermaid tails who would swim in a giant acrylic tank. The cake was coming from Gilded Flower, a boutique bakery with a 4-week lead time. Every detail was a pillar holding up the temple of Laura's ego. My plan wasn't to cause a scene. It was to systematically remove every single one of those pillars and let the temple collapse under its own hollow weight. I emailed Laura back, sweetness itself. Asterisk, the kids are thrilled to be ambassadors. Brolin. Send every schedule, every vendor contact. We want to support you 100%. Asterisk. I became her most enthusiastic collaborator. She ate it up, flooding my inbox with PDFs and contracts, proud of having maneuvered me so easily. I created a new anonymous email address. Then I began to write emails. Not angry rants. Professional, concerned citizen emails. To the City Health Department referencing Sparkle Galaxy's food service permit and inquiring, based on anonymous patron reports, about the cleaning protocols for the immersive gel blob pit playground feature. To the fire marshal's office, with a scanned copy of the floor plan Laura had sent me, politely questioning if the maximum occupancy for the galactic ballroom truly accounted for the large temporary structures like the mermaid tank. To the Department of Labor asking about the regulations concerning minor performers, the teenage space alien greeters, and their break times in a high-sensory environment. I didn't make accusations. I asked questions. The kind of questions that trigger bureaucratic machinery which moves slowly, inexorably, and loves nothing more than a scheduled, unannounced inspection. I called Gilded Flower, posing as Laura. A slight panic in my voice. Hi, it's Laura Simmons for the Emily order. There's been a horrible mistake. We've just found out Emily is severely allergic to almond extract. Was that used in the fondant? It was. Oh my God. You have to remake it. I don't care about the cost. But it has to be ready by Saturday for pickup, not Sunday, so I can have it independently tested. The flustered baker agreed to a rushed, almond-free remake for pickup the day before the party. Then Aquamystica. An email from my anonymous account to their agency. Dear Sir/Madam, I am a devout follower of the performers' social media. I am concerned for their welfare. At the Sparkle Galaxy venue, I have reason to believe the water filtration system for the tank is not up to code. Can you please confirm the venue has provided you with recent water quality certifications? The performer's health is paramount. A good agency doesn't take risks. They demand proof. I set the dominoes in place with the precision of a cardiologist. Then I waited. The day of the party arrived. Laura was a whirlwind of stressed excitement in our family group chat. Final countdown. Everything is perfect. I dressed Jamie and Lily nicely but comfortably. You have important jobs today, I told them, my heart a drum in my chest. But if you want to leave at any time, we leave. No questions asked. They nodded, excited but confused by my intensity. We arrived at Sparkle Galaxy at 12:45 p.m. It was a temple of neon and polished chrome. Children in designer outfits scurried past. Laura in a sequined dress looked like a game show host. Here, Junior Ambassador. You're on cupcake station duty. Jamie, you're on goodie bags by the exit. Chloe, you can man the coat check if it gets busy. I simply smiled. We're here to help. The first domino was scheduled to fall at 1:15. At 1:05, a grim-faced man and woman in official city windbreakers walked in, clipboards in hand. The health inspector. They beelined for the gel blob pit, now swarming with children. They started taking swabs. Laura fluttered over. Can I help you? Routine inspection. Please continue your event. At 1:20, two fire marshals entered, their presence commanding an instant anxious hush from the adults. They began measuring exits, pointing at the mermaid tank structure, talking in low tones to the venue manager. Laura's smile was now a rictus grin. At 1:30, a drama unfolded at the entrance. The two Aquamystica mermaids in shimmering robes over their tails were in a heated whisper conference with their manager. He marched over to Laura. Miss Simmons, we cannot perform. The venue cannot produce the water safety logs we requested. It's a breach of contract. We're leaving. What? No, you can't. The children are waiting. The children, sensing disaster, began to whine. The elegant ambience shattered into chaos. And then the coup de grace. Laura's husband, Mark, rushed up to her, phone in hand, face pale. Laura, Gilded Flower just called. They said you picked up the cake yesterday and demanded a remake. They have the security footage. Where is the cake? I didn't pick up anything. What are you talking about? She turned, her eyes wild, scanning the room. They landed on me. I was standing by the abandoned cupcake station, one hand on each of my children's shoulders. I met her gaze. And for the first time I let the cold, diamond-hard resolve show in my eyes. I didn't smirk. I didn't smile. I just looked at her. And in that look I conveyed everything. I know. I did this. You did this to yourself. Her face went from confusion to dawning suspicion, to absolute gut-wrenching comprehension. It was the most satisfying image I will ever hold in my mind. The party descended into a full-blown meltdown. The fire marshals, citing occupancy concerns due to unpermitted temporary structures, ordered the immediate evacuation of the main ballroom. The health inspector shut down the gel blob pit, announcing it needed a deep clean after their preliminary tests. 100 oversugared, overexcited children, denied their mermaids, and their main play area began to riot. Tears, screams, spilled juice boxes on the $5,000 custom carpet. Laura stood in the center of it all, her sequined dress absurd under the fluorescent work lights the marshals had demanded be turned on, killing the galactic mood. The venue manager was in her face, pointing at clauses in the contract about fines for permit violations. Parents were grabbing their kids, shooting her looks of pure disgust. The perfect, exclusive, Instagram-ready event was now a literal disaster zone. I walked my children through the chaos. Lily looked up at me, squeezing my hand. "Mommy, is Aunt Laura's party broken?" I knelt down, the sounds of bureaucratic wrath and crying children forming the backdrop to my quiet victory. Sometimes, sweetheart, when people are mean and try to make others feel small, the universe has a way of balancing things out. "Let's go get real ice cream." As we passed Laura, she lunged toward me, her composure utterly gone. You did this. You ruined everything." "I ruined nothing, Laura." "You did. You lied. You used my children. You treated my family like staff. All I did was send a few emails asking questions. If your perfect party was so legally sound, so ethically run, it would have survived a little scrutiny. You built a house of cards. I just pointed out there was a breeze coming." The final beautiful twist? Because of the contract breaches, Sparkle Galaxy not only charged her the full fee, they sued her for damages and lost business. The gilded flower cake, the one I had redirected? I picked it up that Saturday. We had a magnificent almond-free 3-tiered galactic castle cake at our own kitchen table that Sunday night, laughing with David and the kids, the sounds of our joy a world away from her crumbling empire. Revenge is often portrayed as hot and violent. A shouting match. A public humiliation you orchestrate with a microphone. But sometimes the most satisfying justice is quiet, indirect, and simply allows a person's own choices, their own arrogance and carelessness, to become their downfall. I didn't create Laura's lies, her corner-cutting, her willingness to exploit family. I merely held up a mirror to them and invited the authorities to take a look. The true revenge wasn't in the ruined party. It was in the look on her face when she realized that the quiet, reliable sister she thought she could manipulate was, in fact, the architect of her consequence. Karma doesn't always need a push. Sometimes, it just needs a nudge in the right direction. If this story of cold, calculated justice warmed a little part of your soul, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Let me know in the comments. What's the most elegant or subtle form of revenge you've ever witnessed or imagined? And of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because here we believe that sometimes, the best response to being treated like a background character is to quietly rewrite the entire script. Until next time, stay clever.